everyone, I'm Jack from Cultaholic Wrestling, and this is what happened at WWE Payback 2023. The show opens with Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch in a steel cage. Becky has the hot start to the match, she's all fired up, she's beating Trish up. Trish tries to escape the cage, gets stopped, tries to go out the door, gets stopped, and she's basically going for the quick win because she's a cowardly heel and she doesn't want to fight our Becky. Whenever Becky gets her hands on Trish, there's a lot of ramming her head into the cage, a lot of big right hands to the face. I don't quite know when, but at one point you see like a nasty welt beginning to form on Trish's forehead, and that would only get worse as the match went on. At one point, Becky drapes Trish over the ropes and hits a guillotine leg drop for 2. It's the first of several kind of scary high-risk moments in the match. At one stage, Trish tries to climb out of the corner, but Becky grabs her out of the corner of the ring and hits a nice powerbomb for 2. Then Becky hits a twist of fate in tribute to Lita, probably, but again, Trish kicks out at 2. But Becky is kicking out of big moves as well. She manages to kick out of the bulldog and then a top rope bulldog from Trish as well. But as I mentioned, Becky clings on. Trish then almost gets all the way out of the cage, but Becky just manages to catch her, and then they battle terrifyingly atop the cage, or the steel prison, as Michael Cole calls it at one stage. They then hit the most memorable moment of the match by far, a massive, terrifying superplex from all the way at the top of the cage, all the way down to the canvas. Oh my god, thankfully Trish seems to be okay. Becky then tries to go out the top, but Trish tries to crawl out of the door, so Becky has to climb down to stop her. She grabs her legs, but Zoey Stark is at ringside and grabs Trish's arms, and they have a bit of a tug of war. Becky wins, she manages to get Trish back in the ring, so Zoey gets in as well and breaks up a pinfall attempt. Becky, though, seems to welcome this interference, this kind of 2-on-1 situation, shutting the cage door behind her and taking on Zoey and Trish. She hits the manhandle slam on Zoey and then a top rope manhandle slam on Trish, and that's enough for the 3 count. Becky Lynch wins the match, but that's not all. After Becky has left, we see Zoey try to console Trish, who is very frustrated and just wants her to get out of her way. Zoey's like, what's going on, man? Trish slaps her in the face. Zoey is not happy at all and shuts the cage door once again, trapping Trish inside. Trish is ready to go, she wants to fight. Zoey immediately hits her finisher, and that's the end of the segment. It's a nice moment for Zoey. We'll see where it goes from there. And generally, it was a big dramatic match to open the show. Next up, hustle, loyalty, and respect. Here comes John Cena, the host of Payback. Cena gets on the mic and says he wants to make tonight special by being the special guest referee for LA Knight versus The Miz, but The Miz interrupts and he isn't too happy about this. They bicker back and forth. Miz says that Cena's a bad host. Cena says, well, you've been a host before, give me some advice. Miz says, be more involved. And Cena says, what, be more involved like being the special guest referee? And Miz says, no, you don't even have a referee shirt. And Cena's like, here's one. And he's immediately handed one by someone from ringside. So that's all, that's fun. LA Knight arrives and the match begins with Cena indeed as the special guest referee, but Miz stalls a lot and eventually tries to walk up the ramp. LA Knight chases him down and gets the action back in the ring. Back and forth they go. Miz goes for the skull-crushing finale. Knight gets out. He goes for the BFT. Miz gets out of that as well, and they are evenly matched. Then they battle on the outside, and Miz gets backdropped into the Timekeeper's area. Knight then throws him out of the Timekeeper's area, hops up onto the barricade, and hits a flying clothesline. He almost slips, but it's all okay in the end. At this point, back in the ring, Cena starts to get involved in the match more and more, administering 5 counts here and there, and at one point, arguing with LA Knight, who gets blindsided by The Miz as a result. Miz builds up a bit of a head of steam around this time, hitting his little leg kick DDT, and then he rolls backwards into a second consecutive little leg kick DDT. Who does he think he is chaining these moves together? Matt Jackson with his backdrops, or back fisherman suplex, the Matt Jackson thing. Oh, is it a Northern Lights suplex maybe? Anyway, Miz tries to get a dirty roll-up with a hand on the ropes, but John Cena catches him and doesn't just stop the pinfall, he also imparts some life advice to the Miz, saying, hey, never take the low road. Miz then ducks a right hand, which almost hits Cena, and this miscommunication allows Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale, but it's only a near fall. Miz then mockingly goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle. LA Knight cuts him off. Big elbow drop. BFT. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight wins the match. And he and Cena share a bit of an argument at the top of the ramp after the match, but eventually they have a handshake and a nice moment of very manful respect. They're just bloody men. The next match is the US Championship match between the champion, Rey Mysterio, and Austin Theory. Rey is hot out of the gate for this one, but it's not long before Theory takes control, trying to win back the belt that he used to hold. Oh, by the way, this match is sponsored by Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Hooray. A little bit later on, they go up top and Theory goes for the mask. You can't be trying to rip off a luchador's mask, Theory. Rey turns the tide, though, and also manages to keep his mask on. He hits his nice, slide under the bottom rope into a tornado DDT. Very nice indeed, and well sold by Austin Theory. Back in the ring, Theory catches a flying Rey on his back and spins him into a sit-out powerbomb or almost a Blue Thunder bomb. It's nice stuff. Both men knock each other down, but as they return to their feet, Rey manages to get a 619. He goes for the follow-up splash, but gets hit with knees on landing, and Theory scoops up Rey. He goes for A-Town down, but Mysterio reverses it into a victory roll, 1, 2, 3, and Rey Mysterio is still the US champion. The LWO come out to celebrate with Rey, hooray, etc. This was a very decent match and everything, but it maybe felt a little bit like a TV match. I don't know. I also don't think this is the end of the feud. That's guesswork on my part, but Theory looked very angry in the ring, which to me suggests that maybe this is not over yet. Then we head backstage where an interview with Becky Lynch is interrupted by NXT Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton, who she's been beefing with online recently. Tiffany's like, oh, I accidentally said on TV that you were a former NXT Women's Champion. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Apparently you were never NXT Women's Champion. And Becky kind of laughs it off and she's like, okay, maybe you should concentrate on your title defense next week and then maybe I'll see you soon. Ooh, looks like we will probably be getting a match between these two. And that's a huge rub for Tiffy S. Next up, the Steel City Street Fight with the tag team titles on the line. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defending against Finn Balor and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day. They go back and forth to begin, and Balor stomps on a Pittsburgh terrible towel to get some heat. The faces fight back, and then Zayn hits a big dive onto both opponents on the outside. Kevin Owens reveals a Terry Funk t-shirt at one point, and then he and Zayn put a trash can over Finn Balor and take turns hitting him with kendo sticks. It's all fun and games. The Judgment Day got on top for a while, but again, the champions fight back with some steel chairs. The Judgment Day, well, it looked... At first, I thought they were trying to leave through the crowd, and I was like, why? It's a title match. You might win the belts. Keep going. But then it's revealed why they've lured Owens and Zayn into the crowd after them, because then Dom joins in, and the Judgment Day use the numbers advantage to beat them down 3-on-2. The heels celebrate for a while, but then Owens and Zayn reappear dressed as Pittsburgh Penguins, the ice hockey team. They beat everyone up, but... Also, I'm very distracted at this point because Owens is bleeding heavily. I don't quite know how he did it or where or at what point in the match, but it's very noticeable. Back in the ring we go and get some nasty moves onto chairs, including a Blue Thunder Bomb, but everyone heads back outside again and they fight into the crowd. Owens puts Dom on a table and dives off the crowd entrance above with a scary swanton to put Dom through the table. Back in the ring, Sami goes to Helluva Kick Balor, but Priest just throws a trash can in his face to cut him off. They go to finish off Sami, but he knocks Balor off the apron through a table on the outside. Owens gets back in the ring and hits the stunner on Damian Priest. He then gets hit with a Helluva Kick. 1, 2... It feels like the finish, but out of nowhere, JD McDonough breaks up the pinfall. Owens isn't too happy and hits a very nasty, a horrific pop-up powerbomb onto the very unmoving announce table. That's a nasty bump for JD. Rhea Ripley then charges around the ring out of nowhere and tackles Owens through the Timekeeper's barricade. Back in the ring though, it seems like Sami has this match all wrapped up with a Helluva Kick to Finn Balor. 1, 2, but here's Dominic back in the ring with a briefcase shot to break it up. And then 1, 2, 3, Balor makes the cover and wins. The Judgment Day are the new tag team champions. This match was chaotic and messy, but also undeniably very fun. I was shocked by the result, though. I did not see the Judgment Day winning this one. I thought they would lose, and it would further the infighting and the issues the members had between the other members. But instead, they've won, and they have all the belts and the briefcases and stuff, and they're really good. Well done, guys. Next up, it's time for the Grayson Waller effect. After taking a few cheap shots at the Pittsburgh crowd, he brings out his guest, Cody Rhodes. Cody comes out with his big entrance, all the fireworks and the whoa, oh, that's gets in the ring, and Grayson stops him from doing his catchphrase and says nobody cares what Pittsburgh wants to talk about. Boo! He goes on to say, but Cody, you begged me to have you on my show tonight. You want that Grayson Waller rub. Cody's like, okay, I know you're a recent graduate from hip toss class, but you've at least got to be familiar with how these talk shows go, Grayson. You insult me, we argue, and then we have a fight. But Cody says he's not interested in doing that. He wants to subvert expectations because he's got a special guest of his own, and he brings out the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster, main event, Jey Uso. Jey makes his entrance to a big reception, Cody leaves the ring, Jey gets in, and Grayson can't help but insult Jey as well. He says, wow, Jey Uso's here. How does it feel to be a member of the Bloodline, yet to have achieved absolutely nothing? Bang! Jey lays out Grayson with a super kick, celebrates, and I guess he's now a single star on Raw. Maybe this is moving him away from the Bloodline stuff. I wonder if we'll ever get to see him versus Jimmy, if they're maybe saving that for a future show, or if that's on the back burner for now. I wonder what happens. We'll have to wait and see. The next match is the Women's World Championship match, with the champion Rhea Ripley defending against Raquel Rodriguez. There's a lot of trash talk to start in this one, followed by big power moves, shoulder tackles, no-selling lariats, that sort of thing. Some of the shots must be stiff as well, because at one point we noticed that Rhea's bleeding from the nose. Ouch. Then quite a long beatdown segment, like the Rhea heel stretch of this match felt like it went on for a long time, just Rhea battering Raquel until Raquel eventually fights back with a nice delayed vertical suplex. She goes for that one-armed powerbomb, but Rhea avoids it and fights back with a headbutt and a big running knee with a cocky arm-flexing pinfall pose, but it only gets 2. Then we get a bit of a weird moment with Raquel kind of scooping Rhea up for a powerbomb, falling backwards and hanging Rhea over the top rope, which I'm not sure if that was the intention, but even if it was, I don't think it was exactly clean. Still, they get back into it, with Rhea taking a very wonderful bump off a running clothesline to get things back on track and help make Raquel look like a strong challenger. Later on, Raquel jams her knee, her previously injured knee, coming down from the corner of the ring. Rhea sees this and hits a chop block to that same leg. They brawl to the outside with Rhea in control, but then Raquel gets her in a powerbomb position and slams her into the ring post and then part of the barricade. Back in the ring they go, and here comes Dirty Dominic to interfere, but Raquel hits him with the big power slam. However, it's enough of a distraction for Rhea to take advantage. She hits the riptide on Raquel, and that's enough to retain the title. Backstage we go, where John Cena is now in a backstage interviewer role, complete with pretending to be nervous and all that sort of stuff. He interviews the new tag team champions, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and says, hey, there were rumors of discontent within the Judgment Day, but you guys seem to be on the same page out there. And Balor and Priest go, yeah, we are. We're a family. Brothers fight. But now we're going to go and celebrate. And Cena's like, thanks, you guys. Thanks for the interview. And I quite like nervous John Cena. And the main event, Seth Rollins defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. Rollins is out first, and then we get a unique animated intro for Nakamura, which is an interesting touch. It ends by saying, Seth, tonight is the beginning of your end. Also, the legendary Keiji Muto is here to watch Shinsuke as well. We see him at ringside, and with the big intro and the presence of a Japanese wrestling legend, at this point we were starting to think in the office, hang on, is Shinsuke winning this? There's nothing to separate either man towards the start until Nakamura starts to assert his control, often targeting, of course, Seth's injured back. Rollins fights back and hits the frog splash, one that he gets huge height on as well. I know he often does, but this felt especially big from the champ. It only gets 2 though. A little bit later on, Seth goes for, well, I thought he was going for that ripcord knee, but instead he hits the actual Rainmaker. But it only gets 2. A nice touch though, given Nakamura's history with Kazuchika Okada. Nakamura then gets a nasty leaping knee strike from the corner. It looks to actually nail Seth quite hard. Hopefully, he's alright. It was brutal. He sets Rollins up for the Kinshasa, but Seth counters it with a flash super kick, again only for a near fall. Nakamura then gets a triangle locked in and Seth almost passes out, but eventually he scoops up Shinsuke and hits a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Rollins goes up top, but Nakamura catches him and comes off with a very nasty kind of avalanche back suplex kind of thing, and then follows it up with a Kinshasa. He measures him for a second Kinshasa, but Seth can't even get to his feet. Nakamura is merciless, stomping the downed Rollins and hitting him with really nasty kicks to the spine and just being a big heel, basically. However, Seth fights back, getting the pedigree, but then Nakamura avoids the subsequent stomp attempt. They then have a little exchange where they avoid each other's moves, and then Seth does get the stomp. 1, 2, 3, and that's all she wrote. Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship. So there you have it. That was what happened at WWE Payback. A pretty good show, but like, I don't know if there was anything particularly memorable or that'll set it apart from any other WWE pay-per-view this year, I guess. And that's nothing against this show in particular. I just think it demonstrates how much Triple H has raised the bar, particularly when it comes to these so-called B pay-per-views or premium live events. But you could totally disagree with me, and that's fine too. Let me know what you thought of this show and any of the individual matches within it in the comments down below. I've been Jack from Cultaholic Wrestling. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.